All right, let's do the April daisy. This is a little small version of what we're gonna be doing. This I actually offer as a print on my Etsy. But we're gonna make our own, just like we've made our own for the last 3 for January, February, and March. But it's gonna be very similar because I love the neutral colors. So, first thing I like to do is spray my paints down. So I'm gonna spray them and then give it a little bit of time to sink in while I tape my paper. So I already have my tape ready because I used it for my last painting. I'm trying to save tape because I'm running low. But if you have the coloring book, it is an 8.5 by 11. So I'm taping about 1/4 inch on both vertical sides. Oh, that's not 1/4 inch. So about 1/4 inch here. And then on the top and bottom, I am just lining the tape up with the paper because the bottom is going to be about 1 inch thick. And same as the top because I made it to where if you wanted to have an 8 by 10 paper to hang on your walls, this is how you do it. So there you go, easy. And so we have our 2 jars of water, one for warm colors and one for cool colors. And then we have our 2 brushes, a round tip brush, I have a size 8, and then a filbert large brush. We will be painting majority of the time with this round tip brush. And then I also have a small little test page to practice any strokes and colors. And then we have a paper towel that I usually like to fold into thirds and just tuck under my paint so everything's all neat. And then we can get started. So the first thing that I'm gonna do here with these is we're gonna do the middle, the head of the flowers, and I love like a rustic orange color. So I'm going to first grab some of this red and add it with a little bit of yellow. And then, oh, warm colors over here, already forgetting. I'm gonna put some purple in here to muddy it up. Let's see. I want it still a little bit more orange. Better. Okay. So I have that for the middle, and this is gonna be super simple and kind of fun. We do these little dots. So you're just gonna be going like this in the middle, and you can leave white areas. I actually recommend leaving some white areas to show reflection. So it's gonna look like that. And if you want it to be a little lighter, I'm gonna bring some lighter because that's still pretty dark. So you could even do some like this. And maybe that's the color I'll do, and then I'll add some of that in afterwards. So we have our yellows. And I'm gonna do this one first. So I'm still just dabbing little areas like this, leaving little white spots to show reflection. So pretty. Like that. I'm gonna fill in some of those white areas on the bottom, like that. And then coming up here. So if you want those darkers to blend in, you can definitely add them in now, but I'm gonna add them in after, once it's dried up a little. Pretty. So with this one, if I want right here to be dark, but for it to kind of blend, you can just drop it in. Just dab it, same way you have been, and it'll kind of do it itself. You don't have to do a lot of blending because it'll gradually move for you. So that looks really pretty. Then I'm going to do this one. Still leaving little white spots. I like to leave them towards the top of the flower, as you can see here and here, just because it shows like that's where the sun is hitting it. And as you can see, I'm adding a little bit more dark color to the middle. Now, come here, still doing the dots. I love daisies. They're seriously so beautiful. Doing that, and then dropping in some of the darker color. I'm gonna do the same thing up here. Looks awesome. Okay, so now the middles are done. That's super simple. And now I'm just gonna do a super light. I'm gonna grab this yellow and dilute it a bunch. Like a bunch. And I might even like add a tiny bit of purple to where it's not so vibrant. And add water. So, same thing with leaves. We don't have leaves in this practice, but for petals, you're gonna do very light and then pressure. Or if there's already pressure in the beginning, you can do pressure and then lift. Super pretty. And I'm kind of bringing some of the color from the inside out. So while it's still kind of wet, I'll do it here. But I'm starting my brush in the middle and then I'm bringing it out like that. And thick. There we go. If you don't want it to seep in, that's totally fine too. You would just wait till it's more dry or kind of leave a little space in between like that. Now I'm gonna do a mixture of the two, so that there's more yellow and light ones, and then there's some darker or more red toned. Very pretty. See how I just brought in some of that color? Brought it and then just like had it seep back in. But I'm not gonna do that for these ones. Very pretty. Okay, so you're gonna do that for all of them. Same things. If you notice in the last flowers that you do, or even this one, how it's not as wet, you can drop some of the color at the middle of your petal from your palette and just go like this. Still super pretty. And if you don't like if you want more control, you can just blend it in with the color. Or if you just want it yellow, that's good too. So let's do that and then we'll move forward. Okay, so now I'm just bringing in this yellow into these bulbs, not bulbs. Yeah, I think they are called bulbs. And finishing those off, and then we can start on the green. I want this green to be a little bit like blue tinted. So I'm having some green, and then I'm gonna add in some blue and some purple, and maybe even, I just want it to be kind of muddy. So that's more muddy than I would like. We can still look at it and see. But I don't want it that. So I'm gonna add a little bit more green and see if I like that better. Yeah. Maybe a little more green. Okay. There we go. So with this, very similar to the petals, if you're doing this without my little guide, I would practice doing some stems before doing your original. You want to, I like to hold at the end of the brush and just lightly bring it up. And you can do thin, practice thick, practice thin, then thick, then thin again. Just mess around, and when you feel comfortable, bring it over here. Okay, I'm leaving a little bit of white right here, just to show separation and add some reflection. Same with here, I'm gonna add a little bit of white areas. Not much, but just a little. And then finish it off with the stems. Pretty. Okay, now we're gonna let that sit for a minute, and then we will do the background and add in some crayons. Okay, so now that this is dry and I've picked some crayons that I think could go with this pretty well, we're gonna do the background, and the complementary color to orange is blue. So I think we're gonna do a muted a muted blue background. Yeah. Also, something cool. Maybe in one of our next ones, I can teach you this, but if you draw on your paper with crayon and then you do a watercolor, it will not paint over your crayons. So you'll be able to see the paint and then your crayons. I don't know if you can see that, but kind of a cool thing that we can play with. And the background is when I like to use the filbert brush. So I'm gonna switch. Brushes and then dunk some water into this. And then I'm gonna paint it. Okay. Okay, and if you're like me and you don't love these harsh lines, I like to just kind of go over and lightly scrub them to where they're not so prominent. If you don't mind them, then you're done. Look how pretty. Okay, so if you're wanting to try out some of these crayons, I'm going to be doing that, but if not, you're done. And I would love to see your painting, but stick around. We're gonna have some more fun here in a second. The video cut me off and I didn't know. So I'm just gonna tell you what I did. First thing, I grabbed my dark like red brown and I did some squigglies inside, just at the bottom and the corners of the flower, like here. And then I went in with it's very similar color, but just a little bit more orange. And I came in and did some of the petals. Just a few. And then I also brought in a like blush skin tone and came in and did just like 3 or 4 petals. And then after that, I brought in a yellow and just filled in some petals. So super simple. I brought in some yellow to the bulbs, and in the stem, I just have one green crayon that I used and did kind of the same thing as I did in the inside. I just did like a little scribble here and then one line down one side. And I just did it for the bulbs. I left these plain. And then the border, obviously, and I did like about a 1/4 inch from the border. So turned out super cute. If you want to try it, definitely do it. But if not, if this isn't your jam, leave it plain. Still looks really beautiful. So that is our April daisy, and it looks so beautiful. and so fun, and I can't wait to see yours. And I will see you tomorrow for the Mayflower.